the sun
Oh, it's going. And we have officially made it to the first video of our
official YouTube channel.
Our new brand name. Let me not open my legs. Let's get right into this topic.
Disclaimer though, when we say masculine and feminine, we are not meaning men and women specifically, or if we do say men and women,
we're not constricting the definitions of these words to like
men and women.
Men and women, yeah. It's just masculine and feminine because everybody has masculine and feminine in them, no matter what you identify as. And we're just using these terms as they relate to us.
Yes.
Of
course, we can only speak from experience.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but
hey, if you don't like anything, comment below.
Yeah, and let us know what you think or how you interpret what we say or these words in your own definition of them.
Okay, so yesterday I was watching or listening to a podcast video. I think it's Kevin Samos. I'm honestly not 100% sure. In the video, he was talking about how a lot of people who are looking for a man, not necessarily just women. Personally, for me, I like men. And he was talking about how a lot of women are single now. The title of the video was like, why are modern women single still? Like people that are 24 and up, older, why are they single? And definition of single is unmarried. So you can still be in a relationship and you're single, right? You're single until you're married. You just choose to be exclusive to that person until then. But a lot of the times, a lot of women get stuck in this like masculine energy, and like they feel like they need to provide everything for themselves, which is nothing wrong with that. I do that myself. I provide everything for myself, but like finding someone that you can like partner up with, like, and help you is not necessarily a bad thing. So we get stuck in this like whole having to provide for ourselves, having to hustle and grind. And
basically some of the traits of the masculine and the feminine, so that if you don't have any, like if you've never heard of these kinds of things before, masculine is usually the kind of energy that is more logical, more analytical, more powerful, like leader. Not necessarily, like it has its positive and its negative traits, just like feminine does, but for the most part, and this is why we say like masculine and feminine aren't limited. It's not man and woman.
We all have masculine and feminine energy.
We can all be leaders, we can all be analytical, we can all be logical and stuff like that. Usually what you think of when you think of a strong leader.
Yeah.
And then for feminine would be more creative, more empathetic, more compassionate, more nurturing. I think
more like connected to emotions, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like I'm, obviously I know better about the feminine because I took it upon myself to learn more about that.
Yeah. Just
because that's what I feel like relates to me more, but.
And for those of you who are not learning about how to embrace your femininity, it can help you be happier and understand yourself more and know like how to be able to work with your future partner and in ways where the relationship can excel.
In that video you said that they were talking about whenever a woman finds the right man for her, they're naturally feeling more inclined to be more submissive.
Yeah, so whenever you do, and this is with saying that like both parties are making it a conscious effort to like heal their traumas and better themselves and be the best version of themselves. Before you get into any type of relationship, you should always be at least working on that. Not necessarily like you're never going to be perfect, but at least making that conscious effort to better yourself. For example, for me, if I find someone, a man that I like, and they are providing things for me that I can't provide for myself, like the ability to
exactly.
He can.
The fact that he can, that is what
grabs my attention.
It grabs your attention, but like subconsciously.
Yeah.
We're not gonna gravitate towards somebody who we feel like we would have to be taking care of them.
Yes.
And by that I mean like basically raising them as a kid. So like everything that we have to that we have to buy as a unit, like groceries or household things. You don't want to be the only person that's providing for your partner. And that goes both ways.
Exactly. So that's not to say like you find a dude and you expect him to pay everything for you and you live happily without bills or anything like that.
You should also be able to take care of yourself as an independent woman or person. And
that's with the same things with anything that we say about like a man or a woman. The expectations are always like double. It goes both ways. So if I say a man should be able to provide for me, it goes the same way. I should be able to provide for him if it really came down to it. If I find a dude or a man, I should say, not a dude, a man that can provide for me that I see, doesn't mean that he's going to provide for me just yet, but the fact that he can, I can see that he's a strong leader. I can see that he's a good problem solver. And not only just all that, but like he also has a toll of like his emotions. He knows how to handle his emotions, which is feminine. So a man also does need to sharpen their feminine skills in order for him to feel like balanced and play well with their woman.
There's a thing as toxic masculinity too, when someone is too much in all of those qualities.
Survival mode. That's what masculine energy is really like.
It can turn into very egotistical and competitive in an unhealthy way.
As too much feminine can leave you like naive and like
hysterical. Yeah. And, like, your emotions are all over the place. And
or like being like too trustworthy with everyone, or like just like caring like that can put you in some type of bad situations where you don't want to be in. But whenever you find someone that has those qualities, that has a good balance of like masculine and feminine depending on what side you are, you will like as a woman you will naturally want to submit to them. And submission has a negative connotation nowadays, I feel, but submission isn't like a negative thing, or it shouldn't be. Whenever you're submitting to someone, it's not to say that you're their servant, it's not to say that you're literally wiping their ass for them. It's like when you have that feeling, and I can speak from that because I'm feeling that currently. Like when you just naturally want to do things for someone because it makes you happy as well as them. Like seeing them doing good and being okay like makes you happy.
And it makes you want to take care of them even more.
Yeah, because you care for them and you see that they can provide things that you can't provide for yourself or not as well. Or that they're better at,
Yeah. And I feel like in today's age, a lot of people are deviating from that.
Everyone wants to be independent and do every single thing by themselves.
But what a lot of people don't realize is that we were created, and this is my belief, but I believe that men and women, or the masculine and the feminine, whichever one you identify more with, you were created for the other one.
Yes.
I believe in like yin and yang and opposites attract, balance and harmony. So men and women are meant to be with each other because they both are equal. They're equal, but they're not the same.
Yes.
So they provide different things that the other one, like Kanesha said, can't provide as well by themselves. So
again, this also has to do with masculine and feminine energy. So just because she says like man and woman, there are homosexual relationships that one partner is more masculine than the other one is more feminine. That right there is just a perfect example about how masculine and feminine you have to have a good balance.
You can have a balance and still have a healthy relationship without being a man and a woman.
Exactly. So, and also, I feel like submission is also like not only is it acts of service and like wanting to do things for someone, but letting your significant other shine in the areas that they're good at and like letting them be happy and enjoy that, right? Not telling them like, oh, I'm only letting you do this because you're good at it, but like just letting them be at his happiest, doing the things that what he does.
Trusting in that person because you know that they have those qualities in them.
Yes, and that they're capable.
And by you allowing them to that power, or not power, but like that.
Well, it is power.
Yeah, that power. One, you're allowing that. So it's not like,
again, this is not an abusive relationship. Yeah, this is not where you're like cooking and cleaning and doing everything, sucking his toes for him. Like, if that's what you like, but not in a bad way, And that goes the same way. Obviously, we can't speak too much on the masculine side because we are more feminine, but that goes the same with masculine. Sometimes men need to understand that women understand things differently than men, and vice versa. Like we are stronger at understanding things, and like sometimes I feel though women are even good at analyzing some stuff, you know, like, or being able to analyze it in a different way. Because I feel like men are like very like mathematical and super like, these are the facts and this is that and that's it. And I look more into, oh well, what if this, or like this type shit. Yeah. And it's like kind of funny because yesterday I was talking to the person, and he was talking about a situation where he said that himself. He's like, well, I'm very factual and realistic, and this is what it is, and like that's really it. And I was like, well, if you look at it from this way, or if you do this, you know,
and you're looking
more
at
in like in
more
depth
like possibilities instead of
exactly.
facts.
And men, he said it himself, like, oh well, I look at the facts and what can happen, not what is a possibility. And that's just a way of, that's just how men think, you know, like, or masculine people think. But it's good to have another person there to help you pause and be like, okay, you can look at it from this way and this perspective as well. So on the podcast yesterday, the main thing was, why are modern women still single and, you know, 24 plus. So he had a couple people come onto the show, and he asked them, so why are you still single? Like, why, what is it that's stopping you from being married? And one of them, she was 29, still in her 20s. I mean, almost 30, but 29, and she had a kid that was a few years old. And she was saying that she just, about a year ago, recently split up with the father of her child. And, you know, she wants to know, like, what is it that she can do to get back out on the market. And this guy, his name Kevin Singh, I mean, it is the dating market, you know? And he was, like, straight up with her, realistic as heck, and told her, well, to be honest, you have more luck trying to work things out with the baby daddy. And that is to say, if both parties are willing to sit down and really work on one another. That is not, because sometimes people are ignorant and they don't want to work on themselves. Like,
oh my god, that is a whole other conversation. To me, it just doesn't make sense why somebody would be willing to get into a relationship with somebody else
if you're not willing to work on things.
Yeah, and work on things with, because if you're not willing to work on things with yourself, what is going to make your partner or potential partner believe that you're going to want to work on things with them? And it could be like an ego thing.
I'm sure,
that just has to be.
Also, a lack of education. People are taught, like, well, someone should love you the way you are, and that's it, false and everything. And I don't think that's always true. You can tell between, like, toxic and just harmless stuff that you can choose to start to love.
Or, like, this person's messy. This person's messy, so I'm not going to be with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's stupid. There's some people who are just messy and you're just OCD, you know? And that's, some people just don't give a fuck about the sock that they leave on the floor.
Yeah, but that person can have the best heart and, you know, have the best intentions.
Exactly. And that'd be their only, like, fault. And that's, you know, unless socks on your floor is a make it or break it thing. But
pros and cons.
Yeah. When we're talking about more toxic traits, like narcissism and just manipulation.
Unwillingness to accept your mistakes and
also, like, those are things that, as a human who is supposed to love themselves and be the best version of yourself, those are things that you need to change. I've had people tell me straight up before, like, well, I just don't like that, and that's it, that's just me. If you don't accept it, you don't accept it. That's one that makes me feel bad, because, like, damn, you don't care enough about me to, like, want to better yourself. Like, then obviously there's no point of this if, like, you don't see that you should better yourself for someone that you love. On a trait that is bad. It's not just like, oh, well, you don't know how to cook.
Like it, so deal with it.
So the woman who was 29, had a kid, just broke up with her baby daddy. He told her straight up, like, hey, you might as well try to be with your baby daddy and really try to work it out, because for you, there's not many options unless you can substantially increase your income. And not to say that money is what matters, but unfortunately, or not unfortunately, money is important. You need to have your finances straight. Doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire, but it
also doesn't mean that you need to, like, see money that kind of way. But anyway, I feel like what he was saying there with the money was,
well, okay,
because money is such a tool, and, like, you already have a child with you.
That's what he's saying.
If a man looks at that, he's going to be like, okay, so not only do I have to provide for this woman, but now I have to provide for her and a child.
And he told her straight up, men your age do not, like, they'll fuck you and they'll leave. They do not want to take care of someone else's kid.
It's true.
Like a man will tell you, most men will tell you, go be with the baby daddy because you will probably, obviously there's exceptions. There are people out there that will, that have.
And we don't know like her situation, why they split up, but.
Yeah, she said that they just don't get along, but that's like, that's stupid.
You can
work things through.
You can start to get along.
And that's, the reason why you don't get along is usually like your egotistical reasons because you're arguing about stupid shit. So like that's where that comes into play. Where like even for example, my parents could have worked their divorce through if they really, really wanted to.
And mine too. Even when they were arguing, like my parents, there were days where I don't know what it was, like they fucked or something like that.
But they were happy and stuff.
Yeah, and then we'd go out to eat, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But so that,
and that's sad because it's like, damn, my parents are happy.
You know that exactly.
Yeah.
It was so sad for me. I was like, you know, the potential is there, but it's just people don't want to do the work.
They don't want to go through the personal traumas because I mean I feel like when someone is super defensive about something argumentative, that always goes back to something that's happened to them before. Because why are you so defensive over that?
Yeah, like Nico.
Which we will definitely be talking about trauma.
I think
that'd be like one of my main things.
Yeah, that's gonna be like the root of a lot of our behavioral issues or emotional
everything
issues.
People in general, the world.
Yeah, like our
even
social
crime. Even crime.
Because what would drive somebody to do something
anger?
So
they're angry.
So, like,
unless you're just completely psychotic, which even then, like
psychosis.
Yeah, that's all trauma.
It is.
Yeah, so it's like even you're crazy and you could be someone completely insane, but it happened because unless you have like a brain damage or something.
I'm over here, Illuminati confirmed. Why the heck am I holding my arm like this?
But yeah,
childhood trauma drives people to do
everything. Anything, any negative thing in the world usually is from something that happened to you as a kid or as an adult too. You know, traumatic things can happen to you as an adult. The other example of the 48-year-old woman. 48-year-old woman. She was the second woman on the podcast, but she was still single at 48. Oh, bitch. And then he goes, when was the last time you were in a relationship? She said 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
For how long? 10 years. But he was married. Married the whole 10 years. She was just the mistress. And he supported her financially for 10 years, and his wife and his kid, and they never found out. Huh? They never found out. She wasted a whole decade of her life being with someone who did not take her seriously.
Wait. She knew she was the mistress?
Yes. But I feel like that also, because she's a very masculine, she said it herself, I worked my whole life to provide for myself, to do this, to do that. She wasted like her young years that she could have been looking for someone, hustling. And she didn't take the time to, like, she worked on herself. I did the personal development, I did everything, but she never took the time to actually just go and find someone or like let someone come to me. Until this dude 10 years ago who was a married man, which automatically off the bat, if someone is married with a child, they will never take you seriously. They will not take you seriously. Because look, he left her after 10 years.
Dang.
Even though he financially supported her for 10 years. Fuck no. But now she's 48, single, and like he's like, the 29-year-old barely had anybody. Imagine a 48-year-old woman.
That's crazy. Yeah, imagine.
So y'all.
At what age?
Tighten up if you want to.
Tighten up, or you better be hot as fuck.
Honestly.
And that's the sad reality that we live in. Like a lot of pretty privilege that does exist.
But okay, so because I feel like pretty. Okay, whenever you say pretty, you don't even have to talk about the face.
No,
just being in a good physical.
Yeah. Or physical condition.
Mm-hmm. Not saying you have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. No. You know, I'm fucking fluffy, but
or Mariah Carey.
Yeah. But to take care of yourself, and that's what he said. He's like, ladies, at the end he finished it up with, he's like, ladies, if y'all are single and you're not liking anyone, he's like, delete social media. That's the first thing he said. Delete all your social media, stop paying attention to other people, start the gym, start working out, treat yourself good, and like that will attract the man that you want. Like, take care of yourself. That's the most important thing. You know, and a lot of people were like bashing him, like, "Oh, you're definitely not a feminist. You don't support women. You don't do that." Because he's basically
he was saying for them take care of themselves?
Well, because he's very direct, and they think he's rude, but he's just straight the fuck up. Like, why, you know, he does not play, he doesn't beat around the bush. And so, you know how a lot of women can get very defensive whenever you tell them, like, oh, you should be able to submit to a man, or you should do these things for a man. Like, I don't gotta do anything for a man. Well, that's why you're single still. Because you want a man, but you don't want to do anything for them.
Dang. Hold on, where? Mic drop.
Yeah. Like, how do you expect, like, and that's what's so funny to me is that
so
every woman usually would want the perfect man, the, you know, top 10%, hardworking, has a good income, provides for his family, like, do all this.
But what are you doing to be the perfect woman?
Exactly. What are you going to provide for him? What can you give to him in return of that providing? Because that's like a partnership is like you do things for each other. So if he's going to be providing for you, what are you going to do for him?
Yeah. And again, remember, we're not the same, but we are equal. So we also have to bring 100% to the table, or whatever it is that the man is bringing, or whatever it is that the woman is bringing. The other person should match that
with their strength. Because it's a team. Like, that's what you're picking someone to have fun and do life together, like to be able to support each other. And
I mean, if that isn't what you're trying to do, then what is the point of being in a relationship? Like,
exactly.
Then at that point, it's just like, okay.
If you're happily single, some people are really just don't want to be married.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. And you can be clear with yourself and establish those boundaries with yourself. And then whenever people do come in your life, then you are able to communicate that. But I mean,
but you know, obviously, I don't know, but
like letting them know, like, hey, look, I did want to let you know, like, I will spend time with you, but I'm not really looking for a relationship or anything serious. I know
communication.
Communication is really big. Whether that person takes it correctly or not, the fact that you were able to communicate that with them, that leaves no room for like gray area or.
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast yesterday. What she was saying was like, if there is ever a time that you start to like overthink basically and like think things to yourself and like dwell on something, that's a sign, like, one, you're not being your most authentic self because you're not telling that person what you mean, and so you're not being yourself, which that's the point of life, is to be your most authentic self. So if you have a thought that, let's say you want to tell someone you love them, you have that thought and you're holding it in, and you're not letting that person experience you at your best as well, or at your fullest and your most authentic, because you're scared of rejection. So that relationship isn't authentic if you aren't telling them that, because they're in that relationship with a different point of view than you, when you love them but they don't know that. And also, obviously, life is short. If you ever do feel love for someone, whether that's in love or just love in general, it's just different types of love, of course, like to let them know if they reject you or anything like that was supposed to happen type things. It's like, that's why you're scared, because like you don't want them to say either that they don't love you back, or like you scare them away altogether, and then they just weren't meant for you. If you feel that and then they get scared, then that person was just not for you.
That's true. Yeah, and I think it's important to also communicate those things with people that you really do care about. You don't want to hold back in how you feel and what you're thinking. So
no matter how scared it can make you.
If you have something that you want to do, or you have something that you want to say, don't hold back. If that is going to be able to let you live your life to the fullest, and I think that's what that means, is to not hold back and to be your most authentic self, then do it. On the other side of the door, you'll never know what could be waiting for you.
Like, for example, what if you're in a relationship and you realize that you love that person and you don't tell them, and they think the same? So you guys are both
holding back your love.
The love, exactly. And that's what she was saying too, is let people know that you love them, whether they're your friends, romantic or whatever. Like, you need to put that love out into the world. Holding that in, you're not letting that energy and that love come out and be spread. So many people are so scared to tell people that they love them, but that love is all locked up, and it's not being spread anymore the way I feel like people used to, because everybody's trying to hustle and trying to grind and protect their feelings and be alone and independent. Independent is not a bad thing or a good thing.
It's not a bad
thing. Too much of it.
But we are social beings.
Right? We're, what the fuck, like animals have like herds and stuff like that. We did the same thing with tribes. So
So that's how we are. Humans are put on this planet to work together with other humans. So I've never seen not one person who can go from being born to the day that they die without talking to anybody, without
depending on anyone.
Depending on somebody, you know. And it is important to be independent and to be able
to learn how to be on your own, just in case.
Yeah. But also take that into consideration. Like, at the end of the day, you are going to have to work on your communication skills, work on your emotional trauma, and
most importantly,
understand how that affects you and how it affects how you interact with people. And that's if you want to have maybe better relationships.
So overall, masculine and feminine energy is super important in order to exist and be happy in this world. Whether or not you are a lesbian, a tree, whatever, homo sapien, I don't care what you identify as, but find that balance between masculine and feminine energy, and your life will feel a lot better. And also, women, if y'all are trying to attract men love femininity because it reminds them of like the safety and the protection of their grandma and their mom, which is usually the woman that matter to them the most and that has never like done them wrong, or most parts, of course, most scenarios. Same thing for women. We like masculine men because it reminds us of our dads, or the parts that we like.
Oedipus complex.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're attracted to people who are most like our moms or our dads. Depending on who you, like what your sexual orientation is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this was a really good conversation.
Yeah.
It really got it has the potential to get the ball rolling, and I'm excited for a lot of the content that we are going to be talking about. Because I feel like we're at this stage where we're just really receptive and we're just soaking up a lot of
information
about life, about
everything,
partnerships, about self-help.
Humans.
Yeah, about humans.
So we want to share that knowledge with you guys because we feel that if more people were to be educated about this and know about this, your lives would be a lot simpler, you'd be a lot happier, especially in the world with so much negativity.
Well,
right.
We hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Thanks for making it this far. If you did, comment below if you did.
Like, subscribe, send it to your friends, and spread the word because, like Naisha said, we're trying to talk about some important shit here.
And stay off your motherfucking phones. Go outside.
They're probably watching this on their phone.
Yeah, exactly. After this video, the video is too damn long. Go the fuck outside and exercise or something. Walk around on the grass, smell the air.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to KSTV. We'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.
Peace.